What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Game On Improve Your Health podcast. Tonight's podcast episode is being guided by your host, Austin J. or hallucinodream. And the topic of tonight's episode is follow-up and question and answer to last week's episode, which was on education and research and the importance of both. First of all, I want to apologize. I can see my cat is roaming around behind me. She's going to be rubbing up against me the whole episode. I want to apologize that I am here by myself. The wife is working. This is a little delayed, this episode, and I want to apologize for the quality. You're going to hear the fans in the background, maybe the cat meowing, people talking, and of course it looks like I am in some bright light area. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is a follow-up and question and answer to last week's episode. I know this last week's episode was a little on the goofy side, I would say. Research and education is incredibly important. That's why I wanted to go over that. But this episode that we did was a little less organized than usual. So I, again, apologize for that. But I do feel we got the point across. I don't think we missed anything per se. I'm going to reiterate the fact that, how important research is, and just education in general. I mean, everybody has probably heard the phrase, knowledge is power, right? Not that you should be driven by power, because you shouldn't, right? There's many other things you should be driven by, but it's true, knowledge is power. If you want to get ahead of, maybe you work in a technological company, you want to get ahead of the game, you want to get some promotions and stuff, you're going to need to educate yourself, right? You're going to need that knowledge to be able to move forward. An example for me, right? I'm a personal trainer. I'm going to school for my master's in exercise science, and I want to eventually become a registered dietitian or nutritionist, one of the two, something of the sort. And I'm going to need to educate myself quite a bit more than I don't know. It's going to be, everything's always ever changing, but I'm going to have to learn a lot, right, to be able to go ahead and do that. And I know that. And I know I'm going to have to keep educating myself over the years, even after I get the certification. Well, not the certification, really, I guess it's a certification, right? But I know because everything is changing all the time, I'm going to have to continuously be educated. That might be one thing that we didn't cover, is that education is basically never ending. And the research that needs to be done is almost never ending, right? Because everything's changing. An example would be creatine. I think we talked about this. Creatine was the research that was done many, many years ago, pointing that it was bad. Don't take creatine. It causes this problem. It causes that problem. It's bad for you. You don't want to take it. Blah blah blah. Well, after more and more research was conducted, all that old research was pushed out the door, and isn't valid anymore, right? Because creatine is actually one of the best supplements you could possibly take, one of the best supplements in general, right? So research is never ending. I don't think that's something that we really touched on. That's something that I definitely wanted to touch on. I'm always doing new research on things in regards to health and wellness, what I should be putting in my body, what I shouldn't be, and everybody has individual variances. We talk about that a lot. But I'm always doing research, and of course there's going to be times where you're going to read conflicting articles where one tells you you should eat this and drink that, and then one that will say you should avoid those same things. So you just have to do more research than that. So don't one thing that I have done, I'm not sure if I touched on this in the last episode or not, but I used to read an article, go by that one article, right? It would tell me to do something or say this is very beneficial for this. I would read that and I'd say, oh, that's great, I'm going to do that. And I wouldn't do any more research. Don't do that. You got to research. If you're going to research something, you want to try to implement something in your life, research it further than just one article, right? Or further than just reading one book, right? That's also something that we may have missed. So there's a couple things that I guess I wanted to add to last week's episode. So, never any research. Make sure you research or educate yourself further than one article, one book, one, something that you read, one video that you watch, because you don't know how accurate that is, if it's just going by one, right? And that article that you read, the video that you watch, might be missing some stuff, right? That might actually, so it might have all these benefits, but it might have some, setbacks to implementing that into your routine, and you might not know it because maybe that article just left those setbacks out. So you want to try to get all the information you possibly can before. And right now I'm specifically talking health and wellness, right? That's kind of, that's what our podcast, our company is based around. So a lot of things are going to point towards health and wellness that we talk about, but this can be, for work, which is what I initially started talking about. Just life in general, anything you want to learn, really. Try not to, let's say you want to build a shed, and you watch one video, and the person says you can build a shed without any screws or nails, but your shed requires screws or nails, and you're just going to watch that one video and then say, you know what, I can just put the screws and nails aside that came with mine. I'm going to build the shed anyway because the video said I could. No, you're probably not going to do that. I probably would try, but it wouldn't turn out good. I would definitely try. But, yeah, one question that came in, so I'm going to get into the questions. We did only get one question that came in, and we did touch on this, I'm pretty sure, but because the question came in, I'm going to reiterate, and I'm going to go over it, is where do you find your articles? Where do you do your research? That was a question, I would imagine it came in as an online statement, right? We did touch on this, the wife and I, or Christina. You guys know her as Christina, or my wife, whatever. You want to get accredited sources, right? Which, if you don't know, PubMed, PUBMED.org, that is a publicized website for medical research, and it's not all fully medical, classified as medical, but that is all scientific accredited research articles that get approved for that website. You can look at EDU websites too. So I look at some schools. Schools have accredited research articles that they have as well on there. They have peer review articles. They have everything you can imagine on some EDU websites. Now, not every school, if you don't know what EDU is, it's generally school websites, right? Education, .education. Those, not every school is going to have those, but a lot of large ones. Harvard has it. Some of the my cat's rubbing up against my leg, like I said she was going to. She's just hanging out. A lot of other large schools have peer-reviewed and research on a lot of things that you want to find. So if you go on Google and you're trying to find what's beneficial for building muscle, what foods help build muscle while working out, and you are looking through the list that Google gives you, which is 200 million things, and you find like .org websites. Most of those are generally accredited, and the education websites, a lot of those are accredited, because they're not really going to let you post on the education website if it's not truthful, right? They don't really want to give their school a bad reputation. So those are the places that I look for when I do research. I also like to read books, so that's a little. You get wide mix of reviews on books when you're searching for what books to read to gain, for nutrition, to gain muscle, right? You're going to get reviews. Everyone is going to say this book is good, and there's other people who's going to say this book is bad, right? Whether the book is good or bad or not. You just have to do a little more research on that. You just have to read a bunch of reviews and see what people said. I follow a lot of biohackers. I go over biohacking a bit on my channel, and I think I go over here on the podcast as well, but I generally go over what they recommend, so their books that they're reading, because they are biohacking, which is what I am doing as well. So because they are reading these books and they're using the knowledge coming from these books, I take that as an accredited source, right? Especially since now I'm not saying I go listen to I go search out biohackers that have like 10 followers and they're saying they're reading all this and that. I will still take that into consideration and do research on that book, regardless of how many followers this person may have. But I do that with all the books. So even with the big hundreds of thousands of followers, biohackers that are out there, I do still do research behind those books as well, but not as much research because they're more well known, right? So it's kind of like the PubMed that I was talking about, or the education websites. I'm not really going to do research to see if that research is good. I'm kind of just going to read those articles. So those are basically where I get the information. A lot of people get information from YouTube. Now there are some good YouTube videos. There are some good YouTube channels that will give you, and other videos, streaming services. I know there's Vimeo and all that. Those are good sources too, especially if you're more of a visual learner. Those are very good resources as well, but those are very difficult because you have a lot, by a lot I mean millions of videos out there that just say they know what they're talking about, and they just do not. And it is hard to pick out that information. If you don't know what you don't, which is why you're going to be watching these videos to learn. If you don't generally know exactly what they're talking about, you might take that information. It's going to be misinformation, and if you utilize it, it could hurt you, especially if it's health and wellness related, especially if you're going to try to implement it into your fitness routine or your nutrition routine. So you have to be very careful when, what is going on when watching videos. So I'm going to keep this episode short and sweet. The episodes are they're just nowhere near as fun when it's just me, right? So I know that. So those who actually sat through and watched it, I do appreciate that. This was straightforward, more just telling you the information kind of episode. And yeah, for those who are watching on Twitch and YouTube, all the links are on the left. You can find us there. You can find me at hallucinodream. If you have any questions on anything I said, by all means, you can let us know at any of those social media or the website. You can hit us up. We'll answer it the best that we can in one of our follow-up episodes. And I hope to see you guys in the next episode. The next episode is going to be, my mouse is not working and I never checked the date. You guys know this. Next episode will be Wednesday the 21st, 9 p.m. Eastern. We don't have a topic for that episode, but we will. So I hope to see you guys there. Thank you for those who stuck around and listened to the episode that I have solo queued, and see you guys later.